Hey, good afternoon. This is just a quick follow-up video. So there was a little bit of confusion in my post or my video discussing EdgeRouter Lite QoS with the priorities. So I read some of the manuals and they were actually a little bit conflicting. Some things were saying one thing, some things were saying another. So I decided I would just run it and put it through a test and settle the argument with factual or evidence-based observations. So what I did is I downloaded a file through FTP as well as HTTP individually, so you can see the speed benchmark for each individual site. And then after applying a QoS, where HTTP is assigned priority 0 and FTP is assigned priority 7. So obviously with limited reservation bandwidth for each protocol, the priority shaping is going to come into place, and we're actually going to see which priority does take preference. So the priorities for EdgeRouter Lite's EdgeOS based on Viata is 0 through 7. So what I did is kind of look over the right here, hopefully you can see it. I set HTTP to priority 0 and FTP to priority 7. And what I did then is I downloaded a file, started a download from an FTP site, so FTP mirrors for Debian. It was downloading at 5.8 megabytes a second after, I don't know, 10 seconds or so, give or take. And then what I did is I stopped that download using the same configuration, of course. Again, 0 and 7. I started a download from an HTTP site, and that is obviously priority 0. I was using 6.3 megabytes a second. So that's pretty decent, especially considering there may be a little bit of variance online. But I have a 58 megabit line or 60 megabit line at my home. So, they're both getting pretty close to the maximum. So it's going to be a good item. So then what I did is, hopefully you can see it down here at the very bottom, I started both downloads simultaneously while still, of course, having priority 0 and 7. And as you can see, I actually started the FTP download first and let it start going for like a second so it would get established. I started the HTTP download, but the HTTP download, or the web-based download, port 80 download, obviously was downloading 5.7 megabytes a second, whereas the FTP was only downloading at 484 kilobits a second. So I can essentially confirm that priority 0 is higher than priority 7 in EdgeOS. So it appears as the lower the number, the higher the priority. So it may seem a little unusual to people, but it was right when I initially did the video. So again, with EdgeOS, and I'm using EdgeOS version 1.4 right now. I know 1.6 is out, but 1.4 is sufficient for me. I don't need any of the additional items or fixes as of yet. I have the firmware downloaded so I can add it in the future if I need to, and just storing it. But I have not upgraded to it as it's currently filling its role with version 1.4, and I can use the CLI to configure items just fine. So I hope that sets an end to this particular argument, or maybe some confusion clears it up for some people. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.